Hi guys, DK here from KaroroCAM. Today in part 9 of this multi-part series on how to shape a kite surfboard in KaroroCAM, we're going to be going through cutting some 6mm MDF parts. In particular, we need the top surface of the rocker table, which has been we've covered in previous episodes how we've cut all the 16mm base and rails for this rocker table, but we now need to cut the top surface. Now, the easiest way to find the dimensions of this is, one, we can grab we can look at this base, which is 550mm by 1900mm, and then to get the length over the curvature here, I'm just going to explode this cutting curve and type length in Rhino, and we've got 1928.5, or effectively 1929 is the overall length across that curvature. So I'm going to copy this outline, and then I've set up a machining bed here for the 6mm MDF sheet, this full size, 1780 by 2700, which is a standard size here in South Africa. I'm just going to paste this in, and because I've already got KaroroCAM open on 2D profile cutting, this is automatically come up. But I'm going to change this over, well, make sure that my Y minimum is set to, or my Y is set to minimum here, and I'm going to change this to 1929 to change the length. Now in this 2D profile cutting, I'm going to be using a 6mm cutter for this particular job, and that'll make sense when we look at the next couple of operations I want to do on this sheet. No stock to leave. The cutting depth position is going to be stock bottom, and I want to put an extra 0.5 in here so that we're guaranteed to cut all the way through this 6mm sheet. We're going to use multiple depths of 4mm step down, so we go down 4 and then 2.5, and I am using ramping of 15 degrees. So that's all set up, ready to go. But I've also been looking at how I'm going to nest up and how I'm going to cut the laminate for this particular project. And what I have is a roll of basalt fiber, 15 meters of basalt fiber, that's 1 meter wide. And we're going to need 2 layers of this material, top and bottom, and I want staggered, sort of overlapped joints. So the blue outline that you see here is actually 50mm wider than the sort of silhouette or outline of the surfboard, and the red line is 25mm, and that is for our ability to sort of stagger the laps around the rails. And this appears to be like a reasonable way of laying this out on the sheets. I looked at some other some angled layouts and stuff, but this seems to be the most appropriate. And I also need this little patch over the fins for a bit of reinforcement on the bottom. So and that'll all seem to come out of this material quite nicely. So to make the cutting of this a little bit easier, I've grabbed the silhouette outline of the board with the fin positions located, and then I've created 2 curves. One is 25mm wider than the outline, and the other is 50. And then the 25mm I've gone around and split up. So I've actually created some sections through it, and I've also created this curve on the outside of the fin positions, just to give us a line to sort of cut to for a pattern around the fins. So with all of those curves, I've sort of created some offsets, and if we go to perspective view here, this is the 6mm MDF pattern that I'm looking at making to be able to lay out these reinforcements. So these slots will just allow us to sort of pen mark at that 25mm wider, and then we'll just have to fill in where these gaps are, and then the outside is that full 50mm. So if I go to my top view again, we can select all of those curves. I don't need the outline, and I don't need these dimensions. I'm just going to copy this, and I'll go to our 6mm MDF cutting. I'm going to paste this in. I'm going to rotate this by 90, and I'm just going to eyeball the Y. We can make this 20mm to match the other one, and I'm just going to pull this a little bit. We can check this dimension. 25mm is quite reasonable. So that's nested up there nicely. I don't need now to be seeing that laminate pattern, but I can take this outline, and if we shift that to outside curves, we can pick that up as also to be machined when we come to machine this other outline. And then I'm just going to change from 2D profile cutting to 2D slotting. We're going to come in and pick up all of these internal curves. That one might be easier from the top view. So I just pick up these curves here. Working our way around. Here we go. So now that I've got those curves, I can shift those to the 2D slotting operation. And again, we'll like to use a 6mm M-mill. The slotting depth position will be stock bottom. We'll want to put that minus 0.5 bottom offset in here. Multiple depths of 2mm is good for a slotting operation, and we'd like to use ramping. So we go to our perspective view. We are definitely machining slots all the way around this board. So I'll go back to my top view. I'm happy with how that's looking. And then we can simply post-process this. We are using a rich auto DSP, and we can save that GCode file. And that'll save to our desktop. And if we go back to our toolpaths, we can go back to our profile cutting, and same again. We can post-process and save to our desktop. So there we have it, guys. That's the next operation with this process of how to shape a kite surfboard in KaroroCAM. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, or you can email us karorocam@gmail.com. Thank you very much.